Hello, and welcome to Metaphysical Happy Hour. I'm your co-host, Cassie Clayton.
And I'm your host, Tracey Escobar, also known as the Red Couch Medium. Hey, we're back at it.
We are.
It's another Wednesday. We have a guest because he's being really needy.
Hello, Guinness.
We're going to have him on the show tonight as well. How are you?
Doing good.
Staying warm?
Yes.
Hi, Rochelle. Hi, Krista. Ooh, everyone's coming on. Coming on TikTok. Oh no, where are we at? We're at YouTube and Facebook, right?
YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah. So come on in. I'm gonna do a shameless plug at first. Yes. I'll go first.
Okay, go for it.
Shameless plug. Not really. I don't have anything coming up actually. There's no classes at the moment. My retreat is in April, and I'm happy to say that we sold out. My very first retreat, and it sold out. So we're super excited. We're going to Belize in April. We have 10 women going to go do some healing. So super excited about that. But you can also buy my book. Cassie, guess what I did this weekend?
What did you do?
I taught a class based off the book. Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
I know. And it fit. It worked. It was amazing. So interested in developing your own gifts, you can be a medium is now out on Amazon. That's what it looks like. Can't miss it. So anyway, that's kind of all I have going on. What you got, Cass?
My company is Stargazers Unite, and I do the websites, logos, branding with spiritual business owners. And this month, it's my birthday month.
Yay!
I'm celebrating.
Yay!
So I want everyone to be able to celebrate with me. So here's the deal: is if you have been a past client of mine, or you know of my work and you would like to refer somebody to me, once that person signs on, gets their website package, you get a $50 Visa card so that you get to go spend on whatever you want, and celebrate my birthday month with me. So woo!
And let me just tell you, Cassie does an amazing job on her websites and her logos, everything. You can go look at all my stuff. She's done all of it. So she does a really good job. You can go check it out. Yeah. Well, who do we got today, Miss Cass?
I am super excited about our guest tonight. So we have Robin. She is from out in California, and she does tarot. So I am super excited to have her on. So Robin, welcome to the show.
Without further ado.
Thank you. I love the way you said tarot.
Tarot. It's kind of like Target.
I know.
Right?
It sounds so witchy. It's like tarot. Yeah.
Tarot.
So witchy.
Hi, ladies. Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. It's been a minute since we had someone who did tarot on the show. Yeah. So I'm super excited because I'm going to be honest. Because that's what I am.
Yeah.
Tarot's hard for me. Okay. I'm not even going to. Okay, Cassie, you gave me a tarot deck. Christmas or birthday, right? It's right here.
Oh, that's pretty. That's a nice one.
Yeah. They're really pretty cards. They're beautiful. I just read them.
It's all good.
That's okay.
It's all good.
Okay, but to my defense, look how many there are.
There's a lot. One of the things that I struggle with the tarot deck. It does have a lot of cards, and what's interesting about the tarot is that there are some people who will follow like the traditional Rider Waite, and Robin, I'm sure you can go further into this, but then there are some people who like come up kind of with their own strategy to go with their own tarot deck. So you kind of have to look at like, okay, whose deck am I working with and playing with, and is it following the same structure? I kind of got into it, started learning that way, and then the deck that I fell in love with was Dreams of Gaia. And it does not follow the same. So I had to refigure out what I was looking at.
Feel my pain. Yeah. Give me a card.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, it's good to use, if you use tarot in your readings, it's good to use a few decks. I even use like playing cards a lot.
Do you really?
So,
that's like old school. Yeah, it's really good.
To get like, if you can't seem to like tap in, or you need kind of a more specific answer, or
Yeah.
You know, like other decks are always great to play off of, you know? Yeah. But I know a lot of cards, it can be overwhelming, but,
and then, okay, I have so many questions because
yeah.
it is overwhelming to me. But before we start, why don't you tell our audience who you are, where you come from, how long you've been doing it? Give us the rundown on who Rockin Robin is.
Sure. So, well, first I'll say about my name, Rockin Robin Tarot. I know it's kind of funny.
It's fun.
I chose it with one of my mentors because I've been a singer for most of my life. So,
I didn't know that.
and yeah, so I was a professional singer, or I am a professional singer still. But that's all I did for about maybe 8 or 9 years of my life. And I've done Broadway tours and things like that. So, and always reading my castmates, you know, and like at jobs and stuff. But my name is Robin, and I'm a Southern California native. I've lived all over the world, but Southern California is my home. I started reading tarot cards when I was a teenager, so 5 years ago. I'm joking.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. All of us 5 years ago.
Hashtag me too.
No, I got actually. This is not a funny story, but the way that intuition kind of finds you, I think. I was always into psychics because my mother and my grandmother were very into psychics, you know, like obsessed with psychics. And one Christmas, my sister actually got the Rider Waite deck for Christmas when we were teenagers. And I was thinking, well, why did she get that? Like, I'm the one like who wants to go to psychics. So I kind of hijacked the deck from her, and, you know, you get out your book and you start reading and stuff like that. Well, a few years later, I was on tour in a hotel show. I was living in Aruba, if you'd believe it, in the Caribbean. And I had a lot of downtime, and I decided that I was like, you know, I'm going to learn the cards. Like, I'm just going to learn them so I don't have to go back and forth and do the book or whatever. And I could read myself, because here's the thing, like, I was a singer for so long and an actress. I always had these, you know, will I get the role? Who likes me? Blah, 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 blah. So I was spending like so much money, you know, I was like a psychic junkie, you know, I was spending so much money getting readings. I was like, you know what, you need to learn how to trust your intuition and to do your own readings, so you don't have to keep on paying people, you know?
Touche.
Yeah, so I did. So I learned the cards, and I started, you know, reading my castmates and stuff, just to the best that I could. And then when I got back, I can't even remember, like a few years passed, and there's a small little crystal shop where I grew up, and I went in there and I got a tarot card reading, as you do. And then the lady was so great. Like, her reading was so great. And I asked her, I was like, how do you do it? Like, how do you read? And she just said, well, first and foremost, you have to start meditating. Like, you have to, like, there's no way around it. You just have to do it. And I was like, what is meditating? I think I was like, I was like 20, 21. I was like, what is that? You know? And so I was like, well, that's weird. And she said, well, this is what you do. Like, go pick a deck you love. And then, for whatever reason, the pictures, the colors, whatever, take out each picture. She said, forget about the meanings, forget about what they mean, and tune into the card, tune into the picture. Imagine yourself in the card, in the picture, you know, and see how you feel. How does the card make you feel? Yeah. And try your readings that way. So little did I know, I mean, that's basically you're tapping into yourself. So you're tapping into spirit, you're tapping into all kinds of things, right? But I didn't know that at the time. I was just like, oh, I'm learning really how to tell a story with cards. Yeah. So it kind of started from there. And then when I went to college, I needed to make some extra money, as you do in college. And excuse me, there was like this fair, and they were asking for a tarot card reader. I was like, well, let me just try it. So I did. And I read, like, I don't know how many people, like 50 people or whatever. Yeah. And everybody was like, oh my God, you're good at this. You're so good. And I'm like, am I? I was like, am I good at this? And then, you know, it kind of waxes and wanes, you know, like readings and stuff. And then a couple years later, I mean, and I was acting and doing my acting thing, and I had an acting teacher of mine tell me that reading cards was weird and I shouldn't tell anybody I did it because people wouldn't want to hire me. So I kind of stopped even telling people that I read cards and that I was like into all of this stuff because I didn't want them to not give me an acting job because I read tarot cards. So, but
that's the true reality of it. People will judge you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, now not so much, but you know, I don't know. Back then, I was so young and impressionable. You know, I just wanted people to like me, and you know, so not that long later, I had a friend going through like a really rough breakup. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I was like, let's do some fun, like witchy things. We can cast some spells just to kind of take her mind off her broken heart. And I was like, let me give you a tarot card reading. And I did. And she was like blown away. She's like, I had no idea you did this. And she's like, I'm going to start telling people. And that slowly and fastly at the same time, became part of who I am. So whenever I would get a job and if somebody was going through a hard time, I'd be like, come here, like, let me give you a reading.
Some counseling. Yeah.
And it always helped. People always felt better afterwards. And predictions started coming true. Like I would see people and they'd be like, thank you. I can't believe you predicted that. Or just thank you. I feel so much better, you know, and stuff like that.
And doesn't it, like, when you get that feedback from people, it makes you want to keep going? He's like, okay, I'm making a difference.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's something that it's like a skill I never thought that would actually help others. Does that make sense? Because I was like using it to help myself and to give myself clarity.
Yeah.
But then when you see the impact some of the messages have on people for the better, of course.
So it keeps me going.
It's like sets their soul at ease a little bit, which I like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was doing it here and there. And then fast forward to the pandemic and like everything shut down. I was gonna do theater and then didn't happen.
Yep.
But as time would have it, I have a lot of psychic friends. I have a lot of people in the industry before I was even really out there reading cards, kind of doing it in secret. So I'd reached out to a friend of mine and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and for money, right? And I have a friend who's a pretty famous astrologer. And I ended up giving her a reading and she was like, oh my God, you need to do this. Like you could help so many people. So she kind of helped me get started. And then I got really scared because I was like, oh my God, how am I going to like read people? Like I haven't, I was like, I don't know. I only do it like voluntarily. Like, how am I going to do this, And so I decided that's when I reached out to my friend Colby and she's like, come sit in my circles and like work on your mediumship because that will help your readings.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So that started like a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I really got into it and like really connecting with spirit, really connecting with, started like really being able to tune into people's, whatever you want, blueprints or choices or different paths that they can take. And, it kind of just turned into like this business, I guess. So
isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So now I do parties and everything. So
you ever get the comment, you don't look like a psychic? Do you ever get that comment?
Do I
used to get that comment all the time. It's like, I need a costume or something. I get it.
Well, it's hard sometimes because I know like really amazing psychic mediums. So sometimes I just like to call myself an intuitive tarot card reader. Does that make sense? But but I mean, definitely when you're reading people with tarot cards, the tarot cards are just a tool, so as soon as you tune into somebody and then you start getting,
more and more. I found it too. Vision. I have similar startup. Like I was doing psychic fairs like crazy in the beginning, right? Which is a really good way to get practice because it's like fast.
Yeah.
15, like you have to get past the fear because you just don't have time to be afraid.
Yeah.
Right? I used to walk into the store and I'd be like, I'm gonna hold my breath because here we go. I'd be so scared. I was like, I'm calling sick every time. I was like, I'm calling in sick. I don't want to do it. Because fear is a real thing when you're out here doing this kind of work and just getting over
It
the
is
fear.
a real thing too. And then sometimes, you know, you get like some random people who actually I mean, you see things, but you don't really need to say it. And then they say it and you're like, sorry.
I do that all the time. It's my husband. I don't want to say it.
I don't want to say it, but then, you know, then they start and then it's like just flowing and you're like, oh my God, please don't tell me like anymore.
Yes.
Like, don't tell me anymore.
Well, I used to do so I came from the old school England, right? And under our mentor Colby, but you don't use cards and everything. So when I was doing my psychic fairs, I was like, I didn't have cards. And I would have people sit down and like, okay, where's your tarot deck? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
But they almost feel like you have to, you need it. So there was a lot of that.
Yeah. So because it's really, it's evidential for people. It's like, oh, like
it's
this
a card
means
proving
this,
it.
and this is this, and that is that. So it makes sense to people, but there is nothing in the spiritual that makes sense to human beings, you know? So myself included, you know, and I always include myself in that, you know, I'm here too. We're all here having to learn our own lessons, you know? So
big time. And then you mentioned earlier, and it's true, like I gave my experience with the tarot that it was just way too much to learn with all them cards. But you mentioned being an intuitive, and I just want to give our listeners the difference. Like, can you explain again what intuitive tarot is versus just standard tarot?
Sure. Yeah. So intuitive tarot, I consider it a little bit more storytelling. Okay. So whatever deck you pick, you just tune into that deck or the feeling that you get from that deck. Lay out a couple cards, and what is the story it's telling you about the person or the question being asked or what you're picking up. So that's more intuitive.
Got it.
However, I will say, because I do know the meanings of the cards and I know numerology, all of that stuff helps. It helps the intuition. It helps it sometimes too, when you're reading people and you don't feel like you can get a handle on them. You can't like get in there really fast.
Yes.
The cards really help me, because sometimes I like look at the cards and I see something and I'm like, oh, wait, is this going? Yeah, is this going on? And they're like, yeah. Like, okay, now we're in.
Yes.
So for me, just knowing a little bit about the cards, even if you learn the major arcana, or even if you learn numbers, and there's a lot of like numerology stuff with the tarot and astrology. But even if you learn numbers like 0 through 9, and you don't even have to learn like what the numbers mean. There are like meanings, like 2s mean this, 3s mean, you know, and angel numbers and stuff. But if you can develop an association for yourself between a number, then that always helps. Like for me, like the number 8, you know, it's infinity.
Infinity, yeah.
But it's also, the 8 is like my birthday. So I know if I see an 8, it's like, oh, is something around spring, April, things like that. So it's like a springboard, I guess, for the intuition.
Oh, that helps. I use Lenormand cards. So that's where I went, and that kind of helps me too. And I'm just like you. I don't need them, but when you have someone who sits in front of you and they say, just whatever, do a reading on whatever.
Tell me. It happens all the time. Yeah.
It happens all the time. I'm like, okay, bring the cards, because then at least that will spark something for me, right? Or else I'm just in the air trying to grab stuff. Like, okay, which one am I going to
Yeah. And I do the same thing with pictures. I don't know if you ladies do this too, but if someone has a question about someone, I'd love to see a picture, because it helps me just like boom, like zero in, like right on that person. But I don't know. Sometimes those people don't want to be read, but
that's true. I have a question on the upside down cards. I never understood. See, that's another thing. You got all those cards, and then there's some upside down ones. So what does that mean when you get it upside down? And do you do the upside downs?
So it's hard for an intuitive tarot card reader, because I do whatever I want. That's basically how I read the cards. I read them however I want. And that's really the channel, and who's ever reading your cards. That's the intuition. I do whatever I want. Now, technically, as a technical tarot card reader, when the cards are upside down, it usually signifies either a block in that area or a challenge in that area.
Okay.
So it's like the reverse of, so like the Ace of Cups means basically love, like there's a lot of love, new opportunities coming for you in love, because it's the zero, it's the ace, it's the beginning, it's the first, and then it relates to, I believe, winter, so it goes on. But if it's upside down, it can mean a lot of things, because it means whatever card is next to it. But technically it could mean that you might be either doubting your choices, or you're not feeling love, or you're not feeling fulfilled in yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So interesting to me. It's so interesting. I'm going to pause right here just to let everybody know we're going to be doing card pulls. So if you've got, how do you want them to do it for tarot? Ask a question or just pull a card?
Yeah, or I could pull a card. Or they can ask a question. Yeah, questions are always great. I just want to say yes or no questions are sometimes challenging, because it's a little bit like flipping a coin, but we can get in there. Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you guys want Robin to kind of pull some cards or tarot cards and ask a question, and so we'll get to that. We have a few more minutes, and we're going to keep talking to her, and then we'll dive into some readings. I'm super excited. So, question for our listeners, because I get this a lot, and I'm really trying to sit myself in the seat of a person who's got no experience. Difference between Oracle and Tarot?
Well, Oracle decks are more, I always feel like they're free, I guess. I don't know. Oracle decks are really like
not
messages. Does that make sense? I feel like Oracle decks are like just plain messages, like messages from the angels, messages from here, messages from there, right?
Yes.
Tarot is rooted in history. Like tarot started in like 17 whatever, and then it's really like it's a structural thing. I feel like, at least that's how I feel about it.
That's kind of how I see it. There's structure to it, and there's
there's structure to tarot, and then tarot is basically numerology, astrology, and imagery in like a card, right?
That's the first time I've ever heard that. Mm-hmm.
And then Oracle is basically just messages. I mean, anyone can make an Oracle deck. I mean, anyone can make a tarot deck, you know?
Yeah.
But that's how I feel about it. But I love both, Yeah. I love all the angel. I love like angel things, but I love like the angel oracles and all of that stuff. But there's some beautiful Oracle decks, out there.
I also used to do a dragon deck or a fairy deck.
Yeah, there's some fairy decks out there that I love too. Unicorn decks and panda decks, and there's all kinds of stuff.
There's like more freedom in the Oracle.
Yeah. But I think whatever deck you have, Oracle or tarot, I always feel like trust yourself, because it was only when I started really trusting myself that my readings got better, and then the guidance for myself got better, and the healings got better, and the predictions got better.
Well, okay, funny you say that, because I had made myself a note when I was researching. Do you find that the tarot predicts future? Because someone out there said it's not really used to predict future. So I'm confused.
It's not really, because as we all know, we have free will. But I always say that I do believe as human beings, we came to experience and learn certain themes and lessons. So we have themes and we have lessons in our lives.
Agreed.
You can learn the same lesson by doing this different things. So I could learn a lesson from going to jail, and I could learn the same lesson by winning an Academy Award. But how do I want to learn that lesson? So I think the tarot kind of gives it's like a thumbprint for me to see, okay, well, in this moment that I'm looking at you, I'm seeing like a jump start. If you go this way, like I feel like you're going to learn the lesson in a year or whatever, or in 2 months, or maybe you're not going to learn with this guy. So guess what? You're going to learn with the next one though. Or you know what I mean? Until the cycle perpetuates, until you learn it, and then you grow and you move on.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, in a way of predicting the future. Now, as far as like, events that happen, like you're going to buy a house and you're going to pay this much, that the tarot can't do, but that's what the clairvoyance is for. This will happen most likely. I always like to give percentages, like 72% you're going to live in this area. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll draw some cards on it to see if the cards agree.
Okay. That's what, that's what I did today. Okay, I'm going to give you your psychic reading, but I'm going to pull some cards to see if they agree with me. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it is like, oh, I'm feeling this anyway, but let's see if the cards agree. Yeah. Yeah. About
it's like my added check.
Happening. Yeah.
Check
So, but people have different definitions. This is what I found of predicting futures, like that's what I found too. But I always think the prediction is in the themes and in the lessons, and sometimes the lessons hurt. A lot of the times they hurt, but that's why people come to us, so we can see a bigger picture. It's like, oh, this is what I see, a bigger picture. Like, you go through this, you get through this, and then you meet that person, and then it's like, and then there's a whole other set of themes and questions, and it doesn't end here.
We're always a student, even though I don't want to be a student anymore. We're always a student of life.
Always a student, right?
Always a student of life. And
yeah. Even in spirit, right? I'm sure with the people that have passed are still learning.
They're still learning.
Spirits are always learning.
They are.
Yeah.
I had heard once, and just tell me if this is true or is this more myth. It's interesting because tarot is so rooted in history and like you said, and it's are you supposed to buy your own deck, or is it supposed to be given to you? People keep telling me, or they say decks are supposed to be given. You're not supposed to go buy them. What do you think about that?
Well, I've had both happen to me. And
okay. Any difference?
The deck that I use, I bought it for myself.
Okay.
So I feel like there are ways to clear, clear the deck, or you're basically clearing yourself.
That's it. Yeah.
When you're clearing the deck, they're all, you could knock on it, or, whatever you want, but
whatever you want.
The messages are being channeled through you.
Right.
So
I never understood that. So yeah.
As long as you're clear, then I feel like you can get a good channeled reading. So I don't feel like there's any rules around getting a deck. But again, I'm an intuitive tarot card reader. And I don't like rules.
One of the most well-known cards in the deck, and there's a lot of fear around it. So I wanted you to just talk about the death card. What does it mean?
Yes, the death and the devil, right? And Ten of Swords. It's always these cards are always so horrifying, right? Everybody's like, oh my god! And of course, it's always the person that's like, I don't want to get the death card. It's like the first card all the time.
Exactly.
It happens every time.
Every time.
So I know the death card. I want someone to make. Actually, maybe this is a good idea for one of us to make a death card that doesn't look so scary. But just like in life,
maybe with flowers coming up, or something.
Flowers coming out, and sunshine or something like that. I mean, just as the word says, death is the ending of one thing and the beginning of another. It is a transitional card. It is the death and the rebirth, because you cannot have death without rebirth, and you can't have birth without death. So it is a cyclical card. That's how I see it. So when it pops up, it just means a cycle in your life or a choice in your life. Most likely coming to an end, and it is time to rebirth that choice, rebirth the self, and there will be opportunities in that rebirth of the self. But the death is not finite,
It's not. So don't be scared.
Finite. And it does not mean you're gonna die, because honestly, this is one thing I do feel strong about. But I feel like, the time that you transition is really a time that was agreed upon between you and your creator. No one can decide when, I mean, I'm sure you both reading people and stuff, but you can kind of see when something might happen, but it's it's really up to the soul what it wants to experience in the transition. Yeah.
I have people, I don't know if you do, but I have people come to me quite often. You'd be surprised. Wanted to know when someone was going to pass away.
I know. I just say I don't do that. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Why would you want to know? I don't even know why you would.
I know. And it's how about that's the thing too. It's even if you said something and then if it didn't happen,
then yeah, right.
Or you went earlier. You're like, that woman told me.
She did.
I mean, I can see, I had an astrologer actually tell me when I was going to pass, or around the time I was going to pass. And I was like, well, okay.
Really?
I guess that was his message to me.
Guess.
So
I don't know. That's crazy. All right. Favorite quote. Do you have a favorite quote?
Oh, do I have a favorite quote? No. off the top of my head. I have so many quotes that I
Do
love.
you? Cassie, you have a favorite quote? I have a favorite quote.
You have what?
I have a favorite quote.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. It's the shoot, I do, but I can't think of it right now. Dang it.
Yeah.
Life isn't about learn. It's the storm quote. It's like it's not about the storm, but it's learning to dance in the rain.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah.
It's not the exact verbiage, but yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Mine is to whom much is given, much is required. Because we take on so much.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I have a question for both of you all because I know that you all have both done like way more readings than I have. What's this like strangest question that you all have been asked in a reading?
Oh gosh, can I say it on the podcast?
Yeah.
Can I?
There's no rules.
There's no rules here.
Okay. Oh God, I don't know how to say this. It was like I was like, I didn't know if the person was joking or not. I got asked if his penis size would hinder his relationship.
Really?
And I was like, okay.
Is that appropriate?
That's what I mean. I was like, is it appropriate to say on? I was like, let me look into that. I was like,
let me pull a card.
And then I thought to myself, you know what? Like, if he's serious about it, then let's really look into the psychological aspect. So I was like, let me ask his guides. Let me ask the guides. What can he do to heal this part of himself that is like insecure about this? And that's really where I kind of wanted to go with it. But the initial thing is like, really?
Really?
Dude? Like, really?
We're about to talk about that? Okay, I have not had that.
Yeah.
I've had the weirdest podcast question come up.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what that was?
Yeah.
I've been doing this whole podcast tour because of my book, and I'm like, there's some random questions, and I'm going to ask you, Robin, because if you could describe your gifts as a food, what would it be and why?
Oh my gosh, really?
Crazy. Talk about being put on the spot. I have two hard ones that I've gotten. That's one. I'll tell you the next one.
Yeah, that is hard. Yeah.
Yeah. The next one was if you were asked to go speak to fifth graders, how would you explain what your career is to a fifth grade class?
You're like, mommy talks to ghosts.
Yeah, those are some hard ones.
I talk to ghosts. And they're really nice. And they have really good messages for us.
Yes, and don't be scared, and don't go tell your parents that we.
And
don't
be scared. Yeah. Well, I think of the food, I would just have to say chocolate because chocolate is so enjoyable, and I love reading tarot cards, so it's enjoyable.
I said spaghetti because we're all noodles.
That's so cute.
You gotta have some of those in your back. So switching gears to the newbies out there, what would be one piece of advice you get to someone starting out on their journey?
Of reading, you mean? Getting to know your own soul first is the most important thing. I feel like the more you know your own soul, the more you can connect with other souls, and that's what I think is the most important.
Me too. I think and not compare yourself to other people.
Yeah,
most of us suffer from confidence. So if you're sitting here comparing, it's gonna just ruin it even more. So
yeah. And I always think too, like it's okay. I mean, I had to it's okay to be wrong. Like you have those people, because here's my thing. No one can be 100% right. Nope. You can't. So, if you have a reading from me or Tracey or Cassie or all of us, get all kinds of opinions. And that's what I think too. And then to do tarot cards, I really think though, practicing is where it's at.
Me too.
You got to practice and practice on strangers. Just practice on people that you don't know.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Practice is probably the biggest thing. And then I did a workshop and I was explaining to the students in the workshop this weekend about no's because everyone's so afraid of a no. Yeah. Like, let me put it to you in this perspective. In order to get good at this work, you have to be wrong because you have to know the difference and the way it feels, right? And so I said, right now when you're a newbie, you have this empty Rolodex. You don't know the feelings yet, right? So give it, go. You will hinder yourself in your development if you're too scared. I'd rather you sit in class and just spew it all and let's see what hits, right?
Yeah.
So that you're not afraid of it. So that's kind of how I taught my students to get past that too.
Yeah. But it's still like, you know, you do, I mean, for me at least, I mean, of course, like I always want to be right. Like I want to be perfect.
Always.
I want to be right. And you want to help the people that you're
Mhm.
reading, and
Mhm.
you hope, but you're like, okay, sometimes I say, this is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. That's it. Maybe it'll come true later or something will come up. Yeah.
Please let me know if it does or doesn't, you know,
Yeah.
because I do feel like readings too, whether you're doing a mediumship reading where you're having a conversation with spirit, or whether I'm connecting with you psychically. So our guides and our souls are having a conversation here. But I do feel like that's how a lot of my readings are. I feel like it's a very like channeled conversation.
Yeah.
And in the conversation is when the predictions come. Right? Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last question, and then we'll get to some readings. We'll get to our listeners. Last question. Do you have a favorite card?
Oh yeah, I love this. The star card is my favorite.
Yes. And if you were to get the star card, what kind of message would that be?
The star card is basically like you've been kissed by the angels. So it's luck. It's the connection to the divine.
Is it?
Yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And where everything flows and everything's going, and it's the feminine and the masculine, and it's just wishes come true, and you're in the flow, you know, and so connected to the source. That's how I see the star card. Mm-hmm.
I love that word, flow.
Yes, the flow. Mm-hmm.
Be in the flow. Flow and grow.
Flow and grow, girl. Flow and grow.
That's my saying. Flow and grow. Flow and grow.
I love it.
I'll end the show. Flow and grow.
I love it. I like that quote too.
Yes. So much so that I even made my retreat Flow. That's how much I love flow. So the retreat that I'm doing in April, we named it Flow. So this is so important. Anyway, that's another show. All right, we're gonna get to some reading. So if you've got a question, put it in the comments, and Robin will do some tarot cards for you all. And I'll let Cassie start choosing. We got some people already.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get Dot from YouTube.
May I have a card, please? So
sure.
Yeah.
Just a card?
Just a card.
Okay, just one card. Here we go. Oh, okay. So this is judgment. So it does mean that I feel like if you're, there's probably going to be some choice around something, because basically that's what judgment is. It's a choice, but it's an inner choice. But it also means that you can't be afraid of judgment. I do feel like there is something in your life kind of coming up. I don't know if you're thinking about, I feel like it's a bigger purchase that's kind of coming up, or
nice.
That's usually what, that's kind of what I'm getting with this person. So here's my thing with this. I think, you know, for our logical mind, sometimes we need to write things down on paper, pros, cons, pros, cons, pros, cons, and look at that and judge it for ourselves. Like, what's this? What's that? If I'm going to buy this house, buy that car, if I'm going to turn right, you know, really write the pros and cons about it. And realize that nothing is permanent. So even if you made a decision and you felt like you made a bad decision, it's not permanent. There is always a way out of the choice and the judgment, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I pulled a card for you too, and I'm just going to read the card just as a message, just because we have so many. So when I'm connected to my joyful presence, I attract support from the universe. So when you're connected to your authentic self, you're automatically going to start attracting things from the universe. Remember, thoughts create your reality. All right.
Yes.
Got you.
So the card that I pulled is thought. So it goes right along with that. And actually, if you look closely at the card, it's got the two sides to it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the judgment, right?
The scale. Yeah.
So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So right along in.
Right along with the rest of it. Yay!
Yeah.
I hope that helps. Dot. All right, next.
We are going to go to Trina. Trina Flannery.
What's on the horizon for my career-wise? For me, career-wise.
Okay, great. Oh, okay. This is interesting. I'm just going to take like a couple cards here. So, so there is a man around her. So I feel like somehow a man is involved in this. So I don't know if like her boss or if somebody at work is giving her a hard time but here's my thing too. What happens with this is like, I do feel she's in a little bit of a place of, you know, I wanted something to happen and it's not happening right now, or it's not happening. Like, I thought I did everything right. I thought I tuned in. I thought I listened to my intuition, and like, it's not happening that way. Now, I'm going to give her two options because I'm not quite sure what's happening. But if she's thinking about leaving a job, she's going to get another one that pays about the same. But if she's having trouble at her job, the trouble is going to pass. I feel like she's going to have like a review, or there's going to be some kind of meeting or something, and it will get resolved. So whichever way she chooses, it will get resolved. However, I do feel like I want to say, now this is going to sound like a long way away, but I do feel like as we come into winter, I feel like there's a little bit of a up in the money in her situation. So whether she stays or goes, there's a little bit of a thing in money, but don't be scared, because like, I feel like too, like you are always taking care of, Trina. Like you're never going to be homeless. You're always going to have enough money. You're never going to be one of those people who is like, I don't feel like you would let yourself be irresponsible, if that makes sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I got do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. So it just goes right along with that. The answers are within you. So, you know, do what you have to do to connect to yourself, your higher self, and find the answer that's going to work best for you. Right. So good luck.
She's going to be great though. It'll
she's going to be fine either way.
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be fine. Yeah. But I get there's a man around here. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. All right. So one of the questions that I actually want to address is Rochelle, is someone trying to sabotage me?
Oh gosh. Okay. Okay.
This is so cool.
Well, it's not that someone is, I feel like somebody might be like, I want to say like thinking a little bit unfondly, I want to use the word, of you. I don't know if they'll go that far as to sabotage, but you're probably feeling the thoughts, and the thoughts then are going and they're like stressing you out.
Yep.
However, I do feel like there is a resolution to this, and I do feel there is another person involved. So I don't know if it's like her and like her boyfriend or husband or something like that, but I feel like there's a little bit of a triangle kind of going on here. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you kind of keep your energy in check and don't let it get too far out of control, then it will resolve itself.
Right. Don't buy into it. Remember, you're more powerful than any kind of energy that anybody can throw at you. You just have to remember your power, right? If you succumb to it and you believe in it and you let it overcome you, then it will, right? And it's crazy because look at the evil eye I got. So, right? So, yes. Are you not liked by them? Yes. But know your own power, right? And any energy coming at you can be transmuted right back. So
yeah, I don't feel like it will manifest into something physical though.
Me neither.
So yeah.
I did get the wisdom card, which kind of looks a little bit like our hermit, but I agree with going and finding your own power, because even if somebody is sending something at you, for it to affect you, you have to match it.
Yeah, and see, like these are the cards. So I got Ten of Swords, which is like, oh, where's the thing? It's like, oh my God, like all this shit is coming at me. Excuse my language, but it's gonna resolve itself. This is the sun. You know, it'll resolve. Yeah.
Yep. I pulled a card for Lori. Can you pull Lori Davis up?
Yes.
I would love a card. I had a really rough week. Let me just do my card first and then Robin, you can go.
Yeah.
Lori, it's crazy because I got the card. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. Go inward. There's some healing that still needs to be done for you, Mama. So if it's been rough, you got to figure out, well, what triggered you, what made it rough, and do I need to go heal something from it? Okay. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition is what you got. All right, next.
Sure. Oh, you want to read to her?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. I actually think this is super temporary.
Yep.
So I actually feel like this year you're going to be discovering some new skills or taking new classes that you have. So I feel like as we head towards the middle end of the year here, there's going to be a new focus for you. So this rough week, and it's very temporary. So yeah, there's a lot more you have to do in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Cassie, you can pull a card. You're going to do the next one.
Let's go to the next one.
Brandy you want to just pull Brandy up really quick?
Yeah.
So I can address it. I've had two really close friends pass away recently. I was hoping for some insight. So I don't do mediumship on here, but do you have any insight, Robin? Just at least.
Let me see.
I just get the feeling nothing could have been done. I keep hearing that. So I don't know if one was an accident or maybe self-harm or something, but I just keep hearing nothing could have been done.
You know, I feel like let yourself grieve, let yourself be sad. I get the moon, which is basically there are things that you cannot see, reasons why it happened, kind of like what Tracey was saying. But also the moon is also your heart, your stomach. Like let yourself grieve, the moon is also water. So it's like any kind of resistance, would help. Swimming, anything like that would help kind of change the energy. But sometimes we just need to grieve.
And it's okay. Give yourself grace.
Yeah. Like you can't expect yourself to be, like that. Or even, my mom passed like 10 years ago and I was talking to somebody about it and I started crying. It doesn't go away. It's part of you, but it doesn't have to control you, but you still need that. You need to give yourself some space, I think, the heart. But she's very intuitive almost. So as soon as she heals, I feel like they're going to be throwing some crazy signs at her. But when we're in this cycle of grief, you can't feel anything. And
then you question why, right? So I get it. I'll just give you a little quick story for me. In January, I lost a friend who was a part of a friend group where we had lost another friend exactly 2 years earlier. So one friend group of 5 people have lost 2 women already, right? And so it's really easy to say, why, right? We're all healers. We're all just know it's all divinely orchestrated, timed, and there's no why. So I would just grieve, right? And let it just give yourself grace and time. Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like they're going to be throwing some signs at you. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Like I hear the starting of a car for some reason. So yeah. But let's see.
What's up? What else we got?
All right. So Krista Smith, will I ever reconnect with the spirit world again? Been grieving hard, and I think that is my wall.
It is your wall.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we were just saying,
The card that I have pulled on my desk, I'll just read it to you because it might fit. Attack, pain, fear, grief, judgment, or any form of separation is merely a call for help. So you're just still grieving and it's okay.
Yeah, see, I got the Hermit too. The Hermit is, the cards to me, like very much relate to the Bible stories as well. Because I was raised Catholic, so I relate that. But the Hermit is very much when Jesus goes into the cave and he rests. And then when he comes out, he's resurrected. So that's a lot of the Hermit. You need that time to go into the cave and so you can come out and resurrect and take your life. Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you how long you should grieve or not.
Yeah.
But because I think it's going to be magical when it's done, right? It's a process, and then and then you'll get past the deep hurt grief, and then there'll be some excitement because you'll see signs, and they'll talk to you, and then things will start happening. And then that's where it gets really, really exciting. You're like, okay, I wake up every day and say, Dad, I need something magical today. Like, make something happen, right? And I play with spirit. So play with them. You'll get to that point. When you're done with the grief.
For sure.
Yeah. When you're done with the grief and the void, you'll realize they're not really gone. You can have a different kind of relationship with them. Yeah. We have time for another one.
I think so.
I love that story of the hermit. Good job, Robin. Yeah. Yeah. And then Brandy did say they were both accidents. It was a train.
Oh, dang. Okay.
So Danielle asks, relationship wise, should me and my husband divorce where love has become stagnant and trust is shaky? Thanks in advance.
I got the presence of love will always cast out fear. So I think that that is a card for you. I don't know if there's fear in leaving or fear in standing on your own 2 feet or fear around what to do next. So I would just go on a self-love healing journey of your own, right? And I think the answers will come to you, right? You got to clear the muck. A lot of us out here, there's so much muck that we really don't know how we truly feel, really, right? There's so much emotion and muck attached to us. So it's time to clear the energy and release. And, you know, you never know. You could be carrying things from somewhere else. He's carrying baggage from somewhere else. So that's what I would suggest, right? Start to love yourself and then the answers will come for you.
Yeah. I actually, I got, whenever I get cards like this, so you get the same suit here, I definitely feel like you two are soulmates, you know, on some kind of a level. I don't feel like you're splitting up anytime soon. I actually feel like you're, it's just time to make some new choices here. So, and that doesn't mean a choice to split up. That means a choice to stop playing the martyr or, make
your
a
own
choice.
part.
Yeah, like, or do, you know, make a choice, like go to therapy, make a choice. But because I also get a lot of like 2s around you, and 2s are like my surfboard. It's like, what am I doing? Am I going this way? Am I going that way? What am I doing? It's like, get off the surfboard, get onto the beach, start walking up to the beach. You know, it's like, take the relationship. Like, you guys are, I feel like there was divine timing in your relationship. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you.
And just to add to that really quick, I did pull the perception card. And so just kind of going along with what both Tracey and Robin have been saying, it's like, just shift the perception of what are your all's roles in the relationship and kind of change some things around that.
Yeah.
Good job.
So, all righty. I think we've got time for like one more.
Okay.
I'll do Terry really quick. Terry, this year it started off rough. Do you see it getting better? Absolutely. I'm gonna have one word for you: flow. Flow.
Flow.
Just flow. Life's rough for all of us, girlfriend. We're healers, and man, January was a hard month for me too, right? But I think the thing is, I know it's temporary, right?
It is temporary. And two, like, I have to remind myself this too. Like, sometimes we get caught in what we lost or what we're not getting, what we're not satisfied with, how our heart is hurt, how somebody's used us, how, you know, I just want to show you her reading. So it's like 5 of Cups, which is like, oh man, I feel like really sorry for myself. But then I do feel like there's a choice, and I kind of feel like it comes from like outside of yourself. So I do feel like there's a choice. But then there's some new relationships coming to you. So whether it's like in that choice, I do feel like there's going to be an outside circumstance that's going to kind of pull you out of your depression, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck, Terry.
It'll get better for sure. There's going to be some new relationships in your life that'll make a difference, I think. Yeah.
I love that. Thanks, Lori. Good job. Oh my gosh. What a great show, Robin. Thank you. Did you have fun?
Yeah, super fun.
That's what it's all about.
Like, great questions.
That's what it's all about. Let's all just have fun.
Yeah.
Great questions, everybody.
It's always like hard, like doing readings, like I'm like online. I'm like,
it's okay. It is
Thank
hard.
you so much for having me. It was so nice meeting you ladies. And you reached out so long ago. I'm like, oh my God, are we still doing this? Like, this is great. Yeah.
No.
But
We
no,
loved
I
having
love-
you. Please come back again. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love being
Yeah?
part of this community. And
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And to all of our listeners and watchers, you guys are like dedicated. I keep seeing the same people who come and watch us and support us. And so just know that me and Cassie are forever, 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 forever grateful. And we will see you next time. Don't forget to grow and grow.
Thank you,
We're out.
ladies.
Bye, guys.
Did I just hang up?
Let's
I
go.
was like,